Hello, everybody. It's May 24th, 2025, and I'm running a couple of minutes late. So I'm going to play some music in the background here. Hi, con artist. Good evening. How are you? I know you're usually the first one here. It's just a little past 10 p.m. here. I just finished cooking dinner, so I'm waiting for it to cool off. I went to lie down to rest my foot, the one that they keep targeting because they're criminals, losers, cowards, and they knocked me out. Yeah, oh yeah, what they're doing to my foot is unbelievable. They're trying to disable me. Hello, Miss Wrench Girl. Soul family. Hi, River Bluff, welcome. One Dream. You know, when they can't control somebody, they resort to harming them physically. Why not? One dream, one soul. AI created the thumbnail. I know. Your language is a little nicer than most of ours about these ding dongs. Ding dongs. Good evening, Red Dragon. Welcome, welcome. Meanwhile, my copyright-free music always has an advertisement in it. I just remember to hit the thumbs up when you guys come in. Welcome, welcome. What's the weather doing by all you? I mean, it was like down in the 40s last night. Oh, happy anniversary. Happy anniversary. How long? It's been so crazy. I wanted to get my Gemini recording in, and I just haven't had time to do it. I'll have to do it tomorrow. A year. Well, that's good. You're wait a minute. You're still in the honeymoon phase. That's a honeymoon. Why do they call it a honeymoon? It's a honeymoon. 1 year. Well, yeah, you're absolutely right, con artist. It is a long time this year. This time, there are so many people. Like I'll binge these TikTok videos, and you hear these young people complaining that they can't find a relationship. So, if you're a targeted person, 1 year is a long time. Targeted or not, it's still a long time. People just don't stay together anymore. Yes, welcome, welcome. It's always so nice to hear when a targeted person is in a long-term relationship because, relationships are difficult anyway. They shouldn't be. They really shouldn't be. But it's more challenging when there's targeting involved. It's speeding up. Yeah, time is definitely speeding up. Oh, you guys met on Quora. Oh, well, you met on social media. Oh, that's so cool. That's so cool. Well, I don't know that I've met any possible romantic relationships on Quora, but I've certainly met a lot of people that have given me some great information. Well, of course, it's your favorite because of it. Because of Quora, I was able to meet Adam through his testimony. That 21. He's now 21 years old, and he wrote that book on gang stalking at 16 years old. It's phenomenal. But yeah, there was a woman on Quora who says, "You've got to read this book." And she sent it as a message. Hi, HM. Good evening. Good evening. Remember to hit the thumbs up when you guys come in. But yeah, there are a lot of good posts on Quora. I mean, of course, there are the usual handler criminals on there too. These criminals watch everything we do, so they like to go on Quora and ask the dumbest questions. They're waiting for a really dumb response from one of us. I think I did. Yeah, there's some good responses on Quora. Nobody's censoring anybody there. I mean, unless of course it's derogatory against an individual. But you pretty much you can post anything on Quora and long messages too on YouTube. It's there's a lot of censorship. Do you hear the creepy voice yet? Is Mr. Creepy around? I don't need to say Mr. Is the demonic energy interfere in the chat yet? No creepy yet. Last week it was like immediate. No one was even in the chat, I think, last week, and I had just opened it up and the voice was there. Oh, yes, I remember on Quora. Yes, absolutely. Well, now, it's so easy to find these people, these losers. Because the first thing they do is they say, "Oh, well, you're crazy or you need help. Have you taken your meds?" I mean, come on, the list is endless. Have you taken your meds? You need a shrink. Oh, you must be schizophrenic. Hi, Elijah. Welcome. Whenever you see comments like that, you automatically block those people. They're part of the program, the gang stalking program, the criminal loser club. And remember to hit the thumbs up when you come in, guys. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, that's there 11 people. But when I started the chat, there's a section where you click off if you want subscribers only or members only. And once again, today, it didn't give me the option to click subscribers only. Yes, agent provocateurs, exactly. Yep. I mean, do you believe we live in a society like this? And here we are, in the good old USA, and we talk about, oh, how wonderful we are, compared to other countries. No, we're not. We're really not. Given, what we've experienced here. Yes, they used to block our replies. Exactly. It was stonewalling on Quora. They would ask a question, respond to the same question they asked, and then what is that? What do you think of the AI? Oh, yes. I don't like those videos. I really don't like those videos. I love watching music videos. And now they have all these AI beautiful girls singing songs of, very popular songs. I don't like that at all. The same thing with some of the men. I think it's really cute. I saw something so cute, like I had to watch it a couple of times. They have this new app. I think it's an app where you can have um, a cute little chubby baby moderate an entire like podcast, and it was so cute. And I'm thinking, well, if they had like a cat doing that, like I would download it. I would definitely download. Like if I had like a bunch of animals that could moderate a podcast, with the words coming out of their mouths and stuff, with some cute little kitten or something. I would download that. Sarah Israel. You know what? I think I did see those. Oh, you're at the park. Hi, Alicia. Welcome, welcome. Be careful at the park. I don't know what time it is there, but keep your head on a swivel. It's much more prevalent in the United States. I mean, I have all these theories about it. I mean, I theorized about it when I was still working on my master's. After researching the negative side effects of the ADHD drugs, I realized that they were literally creating narcissists. In addition to a lot of really horrific negative side effects. But yes, it increases sexuality, hypersexuality. This is why, so many young people, you would hear these stories online in the news, young people doing nasty stuff to other young people, like really young, or young people unaliving their parents. My first question is, whenever I see a heading like that, is what medications are they taking? What pharmas? I'm always going to ask that question because invariably they were placed on them at a very young age, and this is just the negative side effects of them, or the fact that they didn't taper off them properly. Oh, 7:19 p.m. Is it dark there? Oh, so you're on the West Coast. No, it's not in the Asian culture. Not at all. I mean, although, I would say that in some of the Asian cultures, the more affluent people may display more like haughty behaviors, like entitled behaviors and stuff. But um, the United States by far has the highest percentage of kiddos on those bad things. You have to be careful about what you say. Some people have even stated that I could have been placed in the program because of what I wrote about in graduate school. Oh, you're in LA. Okay. Oh, yeah. I really like Look Out for Charlie. And he's been around for such a long time. And if you go back to like his older videos, there's some good stuff about targeting. Exactly. Yes, yes. That's why the organized stalking is less in Bangkok, Thailand. Yes, that makes sense. That makes sense. In addition to the language barrier, I would think like if you're an American and going to Thailand, that the very nature of the local stalkers not being able, or maybe not speaking English, it definitely wouldn't have an effect on an American so much. Like if you had I mean, I don't know what kind of a language they speak in Thailand, but I'm sure it's not American English. Yes, yes, the abuse is rising, increase exactly, exactly. And you can see the expressions on the faces. There's no remorse. Um, there's a Dr. Peter Bregan. He wrote a book called The ADHD Fraud. And anti it was like his anti-psychiatry book. And it was really fascinating. And at one time, I mean, he's older now, but when I was still in graduate school, he was actually testifying on behalf of these children who had really good, academic scores, really good children, well behaved, and then suddenly, as a negative side effect of whatever it is that they were taking, went berserko against their parents. And when they discovered what they did, the kids, they were devastated. So this Dr. Peter Bregan would testify on their behalf that their brains are hijacked. Their brains are still developing until they're 23 years old. Yeah, I mean, it could be that also. It could be that as well. The B2K. It's very possible because I would think that a young person who's taking those things that are heavily laden with heavy metals and stuff like that would be more prone to be manipulated that way. But they wouldn't necessarily have the words to describe what's happening to them. It's a huge problem. I'm just so anti those things. I'm like the wrong person to talk to about all those things. I don't even think it should be done temporarily. I think that there are so many alternatives. That's why when I started my YouTube channel, it was actually called ADHD Alternatives. And then when I stopped talking about it because I wasn't going anywhere, I just called it Alternative Homesteading. Let's see, HM says, when I was there, I can tell who the stalkers were. It was always the Anglos. Hardly any Thais participated in the stalking, so it would be easy to see or spot the stalkers. Well, yeah, that's for sure. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. There are a lot of people that I've noticed, like on TikTok, not recently, but last year when I would binge on the videos, that there were a lot of Americans packing up and moving to Thailand. Yes, it's just so sad. It's so sad to see all this happening to the young people. So it says that there are 19 people here. I've never been to any of those countries. My daughter actually was in China several years ago. Actually, it's a really long time ago now. Probably 8 years ago. Yeah, I don't always remember what part of the country everybody's from. I always have to refresh my memory in the chat. Yes, and I had mentioned about those YouTube creators, the family YouTube creators that have the family channels, and they all look so, wonderful, but behind closed doors, they're doing some evil stuff, and that two of them have actually are now in prison. Yeah, good point. It's really affordable in Bangkok. Hi, Nike Slim. Welcome, welcome. Welcome, welcome. Anywhere the U.S. military and or Navy have bases, you can guarantee the program and perps. So, yes, I would imagine so. Conrad says close to Thailand, U.S. naval bases. Singapore is Chang'e plus U.S. controlled hubs in the Philippines, rotational Japan and Guam. Yeah, I'm not traveled at all, so this is new to me. This is why I like the chats, because I'm educated on these topics too. So what do you all think about the criminal fraternity? Oh my goodness. It's always interesting to hear people who have traveled around and who are targeted and experience it differently in other states or countries. Brian too is one of those people. He's just traveled all over the world. So I think I'm going to read some more of that book, The Criminal Fraternity, Servants of the Lie. Actually, if I were to if I were to make a recommendation to him about the book revision, I would say Serpents of the Lie. Servants of the Lie. There are so many. Where do we start? Exactly. Well, the four that they mention in the book, the politicians, the judges, the lawyers, the law enforcement. That's what this author calls the criminal fraternity. I'm sure there are more, but the underlying theme in his book is that, um, yeah, the old boys club. Yeah, it's that, I don't know. Some people call it a religion. I call it a cult. The Masonic cult. And in reading this book, I had no idea that judges had to pay to become a judge. I mean, I thought all I had to do is go to school and put in some legal years, and then you just become a judge. You apply for it. And who knew that you had to pay? You had to pay the cabal to become a judge. So if you've got to pay somebody to become a judge, then that means they own you. Yeah, society has become a criminal fraternity. Good point. Yes, that's so interesting. HM says, so what I've learned is that the country that you go to, if it has a bad relationship with the US, then the organized stalking is less. And Asian cultures have a different way of thinking. Well, it's so interesting you mentioned that because there's this channel that I watch, like 4chan, and he's a storyteller, and he told some stories about gang stalking and kind of all kinds of weird crimes and stuff. And one of his gang stalking videos, he says that, he says the Asian cultures are so hard, they just don't get it, like don't react. They don't react to the stalking. You're moving to Tibet then? Yeah, they just don't react. Or if they do react, maybe they're not as expressive, physically, facially expressive. Oh, that's a nasty thing your perp asks you. Well, that's so interesting about the Asian people not reacting, and their facial expressions is, whenever you look at them, they never seem to age. They don't wrinkle. Their faces don't wrinkle. A gentleman's club. That's funny. That is pretty funny. uh, I know every time I see those, like a Freemason whistleblower videos where people are coming out about what really goes on behind the closed doors, it's like I shake my head like what year are we living in? I mean, come on, this is not medieval times. Oh my goodness. Thank goodness for whistleblowers. And why do they call them whistleblowers anyway? The truth tellers. Oh, well, thank you so much. There's a cute little, oh, these cute little memes. Thank you, HM. Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. My kitties appreciate it. I had no idea, like, how much more cat food and litter I'm using now that I've got all these extra cats and kittens. Yes. Yes, the reptilian brain complex and its cluster B millions are still in the medieval mindset, sadly. No, thank you, thank you, thank you. No, I really appreciate it. I get so pissed off. Like, I have to tell you guys, like, when I was growing up, like, my parents worked really hard and stuff. Like, they weren't control freaks. Like, they didn't control like us as children. Except, my mother would make me come home at a certain time at night and let my brother stay out late because he's a boy and he can't get pregnant. That's what my mother would say. Oh no, your brother can stay out late because he's a boy and he can't get pregnant. So he used to stay out later than me. But my parents pretty much let us do whatever we wanted to do. You know, they weren't like controlling. So the fact that I'm in this program, it makes me ill. It's like, no, you're not going to control me. Like, I didn't grow up in a home where my thank you so much. Thank you. I much appreciate it. Um, I didn't grow up in a home where my parents were trying to control me. And now I'm like an adult, like I'm a senior, I'm an elder. Like I'm experiencing this elder abuse. I'm experiencing elder abuse. I think I'm going to go that avenue from now on. That's gonna be my new MO, elder abuse. I mean, I literally we are, if you're around my age, we are considered to be a protected class. So these little effers around here, they'll be lucky if they get to be my age, but some of them will not get to be my age. I already know. Yeah, that's really cute. One dream, one soul, one you, me. I was talking on the phone to a targeted person yesterday for the first time, and I guess we were talking a long time, and we were talking about other, targeting and people in the community and all the programs and stuff, and how many of us are of the same personality type. There's so many of us that are the same personality type, and they're targeting personality types. The free thinkers and stuff that everybody says. One dream says, I think once one pays attention to the patterns, one with real eyes that this program is frighteningly vast and well funded, and now that the sun is coming, they're getting desperate. Yeah, they are getting desperate. They are desperate. Well, so many people are coming out and speaking about this. They can't keep it a secret anymore. Our neocortex is activated and the lizard brains can't have it. The lizard brains, the reptilian brains. Yes, yes. Oh my goodness. I don't know. I think if my parents were alive today to see like what's going on, uh, there are some times that I wish they were still here to really see what's happening in this world, and how they would respond to it, what their opinions would be based upon the generation they grew up. Yes, exactly. Exactly. It appears that they target the characteristics of sensitive and creative types of personality. Well, what we were discussing on the phone yesterday was the INFJ personality. There's the INFJ, which is the rarest, and there's INFT. I have a bunch of raccoons on the porch. Yes, they do. Well, remember these losers that created these programs, these intelligence agencies. Remember where they got the ideas for this program. When those German scientists, after the Hitler regime, they brought those guys over here, and rather than prosecute them, imprison them, they said, "Hey, share your secrets with us, and we'll give you qualified immunity." Yes, is that amazing, One Dream? I can't believe they asked you to open that gate today, and then that dumb hotel in the red truck almost ran you over as you were filming. Wow. Yes. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was all set up. And what did he think I was going to say? Oh, sure. I'll escort you across the street. Oh, but it's only 3 feet. They've been saying that for 6 years. Oh, it's only 3 feet. No, it's not 3 feet. And it doesn't matter. I don't care if it's 3 inches. And even after you pay me the more than $600 that you owe me for damaging my gate, I mean, the balls. That guy was probably paid to do that. It's just another part of their skit show. One Dream says, "Well, I'm not sensitive or creative, but I always defended those people from bullies." Well, that's wonderful. And there are always the bullies in school. There's always those, few kids in school. The quiet type, quiet, shy, smart, and then they get bullied. There's always the class clown. They perfected the science of creating psychopaths, and now the political and religious extremism is in full swing. Yes, it makes your characteristics of being an empath. Well, it's so interesting that you say that because, I really like Professor Sam Vaknin. I've been following him a long time. He wrote the book Narcissism Revisited. It's like the Bible of narcissism. He came out with a video last week, and he says there's no such thing as an empath. I was like, oh my goodness. And meanwhile, there are other like malignant narcissists that have channels that say that our kind, meaning their sick kinds, target the empath. So I guess it's a matter of perspective. Exactly. Exactly. I wouldn't allow any of them on my property for insurance liability reasons. That's another really good reason. Excellent. That's exactly right. Well, see, the thing is, in my past life, before I moved here, like actually when I was in New Jersey, before I became targeted, all the neighbors helped each other. It was sort of like if one of us were going grocery shopping, we'd knock on somebody else's door and say, "Hey, I'm going grocery shopping. You need anything?" And that's what we did because we all had children approximately the same age, and that's what we did. We had block parties and stuff. And then, of course, I was the first one on the block to get divorced, and then and then everybody else chimed in. But and then that really wasn't happening anymore. They started moving in these criminals. But that's the way it should be. That's the way neighborhoods should be. But no, we've created a society of snitches. Oh, yes. Yeah, Alicia says, one thing I've noticed is that all of us have a great sense of humor. Well, yeah. Which book did you want to read? The Criminal Fraternity? Is that the one? Oh, Malignant Narcissism Revisited. That is a great book. That's a really good book. Yes. He's very articulate, writes really well, excellent research. Yeah, it's a really good book. And if you go to his website, he has a lot of that information there already. I mean, I haven't gone there in a while, but when I was performing my research on the topic, like he was like my Bible. His book was my Bible. And I think that a lot of in the past, the DSM utilized a lot of his work. Again, in the past. There's another personality disorder that's also compelling. Not only in interpersonal relationships, but working with people who have allegedly borderline personality disorder. There's a book. The first book that I read about it was I stumbled across it. I was in Barnes and Noble. It was called Stop Walking on Eggshells. And I remember I was in a relationship with this guy, and I always felt like I was walking on eggshells. It was just exactly like that book. So I'm looking in the psychology section. I see this book, Stop Walking on Eggshells. I start reading. It's like I have to have this book. And then I started studying borderline personality disorder on top of the narcissism. And as a professional astrologer back then, I wanted to find out what the indicators were. And most of the time, they had one planet in the chart that was considered called out of bounds, and it was always the moon. Not if you had multiple planets that were out of bounds, only if you had the moon. It was usually because the mother was out of control, unpredictable. Exactly. It helps understand the personality and behavior disorder of certain types of people who enjoy hurting innocent people. That's exactly right. And that's what they do. And actually, this narcissist channel, because he is a narcissist, a diagnosed narcissist. It's I'll type it in here. Oh, down to 1%. Oh, okay. Your battery. Oh, your battery. Oh, it's horrible. You need to get yourself like a little one of those little battery banks, a little battery charger. His name is H.G. Tudor. I have his books here. In fact, I started reading a little bit about it. He has a book called Sitting Target: How and Why Narcissist Chooses You. And the other one is here. It's called Fuel. They look at us as fuel. One dream always says loosh. Loosh is fuel for them. Yeah, they're vampires. They're energy vampires. That's why we need to. We all need garlic hanging outside our front door. Back in the day when they always had those old time vampire movies, it was always like hanging garlic to repel the vampire. Yes, H.G. Tudor. He's got it. His channel is completely different than Professor Sam Vaknin. Right now, I've got raccoons fighting over cat food on the porch. Bye, Alicia. Bye. Bye bye. Thanks for joining. Yes, I've watched the No Smiles channel. He tagged me today. Today or yesterday, he tagged me on something. I didn't realize how nasty raccoons can be. I've got this one raccoon. Maybe it's a guy. Maybe it's a boy raccoon. Yes, I love you like I love my toaster. Yes. Yes. Exactly. Exactly. It's hilarious. On the one hand, like before I knew he had a YouTube channel, I bought his book back in New Jersey. And I remember reading it and talking about it when I was still joining in those targeting, podcasts. And this guy gave me the creeps. He really gave me the creeps reading his book. And then when I found his YouTube channel, I heard this beautiful, accent, I don't like a British accent or whatever. It's like I almost don't want to hear his voice because reading his written words without the tone of his voice is so chilling and so disturbing. Um, so yeah, so if you read his books and don't know what he sounds like, it's so creepy. That's very possible, River Bluff. He says, I personally believe that these people are influenced heavily by AI nanoparticles. I'm sure we all are also because it's in our environment. I posted in as a post on the main page photos of the dust that accumulates on top of everything in both chicken coops every day. It doesn't matter that I clean it every day. Every morning, everything in there is covered with this disgusting dust. And I don't have a microscope to analyze it. It's just so disgusting and thick. But you could see that under my last, yeah, I think it was pretty much my last post on the main page. The black goo that assembles inside people creating the Internet of Things. Oh, that's hilarious. That's why they are IDIOTS, the term idiot, Internet of Things. Oh, that's hilarious. That's so cool. Well, I think that people are more easily influenced if they're drinking alcohol, taking pharma drugs, prescriptions, any kind of other illicit drugs, genetically modified, other things, a soda pop, too much sugar, too much caffeine, too much. Yes, people have mentioned that. Their eyes turn pitch black, like something assembled inside their eyes. You know who discussed that? There was a targeted woman, a subscriber sent me an email. I think it was yesterday, the day before. A targeted woman who was married to a wealthy guy divorces him, and she still loves him, protects him and everything, but she said that something demonic took him over and that she actually saw his eyes turn black. Wow, the 14th century. Wow. Well, it's so interesting because back in New Jersey, when I was like in my dating mode, I met this guy on Match.com. And I went through this phase where, I only dated people with PhDs. And it wasn't intentional. just everybody that came into my life then had a doctorate. So I meet this guy for the first time in Princeton, and I sit across from him, and I'm getting the creepies about him. And he gives me this gift. He buys me a little gift, and I thought, oh, how nice. But there was something about him, like his aura. Like I saw his aura, and it was black. Like it was dark. I don't know if it was black. It was dark. And I just got the chills. Like I remember getting the chills all over me about this guy. Like I didn't want to have anything to do with him. Oh, you saw your own mother's eyes turn black when she was mad? Wow. Yeah, yes. Yep, River Bluff. I'm not I can't I'm not going to talk about that, but you can write it all you want. This is for this a whole chat, this whole live stream is for educational and research only. Educational purposes only. It says there are 19 people here, but only 11 thumbs up, guys. Wow. You know, the targeted person who's no longer with us, Zachos Breedlove Ewing, he wrote a lot about the black goo. And what these losers do, what they also do is they would take two insects, venomous fighting insects, and place them in a jar together to see which one unalive the other one, which one was stronger than the other one, and that they would use the venom that was created of that insect. And this is just sick stuff. This is like mad scientist stuff. Oh, that's interesting. They show the black goo in Spider-Man, Prometheus, Lucy, and millions of movies. Multi-dimensional. It's very possible. It's very possible. You hope they pass HR 3245. Well, that would be great. I don't know that it would end all the targeting, but it would certainly put a little clinker in the pot. You know, once you get that passed, then you know what else? That it would be great. That's let me find the video. Isn't it that woman Luna proposed? Yes, the graphene. They had black goo at the Chicago Science Museum. Once it was surrounded by a huge unmanned computer room, and I could feel the cold machine evil around it. Yeah. Well, you know, there are a lot of YouTube creators that are, yes, repealing the Patriot Act. Yes, exactly. That are documenting this dust that has been flying into certain states, and the people are describing a lot of feeling sick, feeling sick. Hopefully that won't get a copyright thing. I've got to disable my alerts here. Yeah, you know what? We got that scare sometime last year when Congress was not going to vote for FISA 702. And then at the last minute, they suddenly started voting for it. They were probably bribed or whatever. Yeah, the smart dust is everywhere. It's in everything. The food, everything, the water. It's horrible. It's just horrible. It's a play net. Yes, the play net. There needs to be some bills introduced about the energy weapon on American soil. I'm going to see if I could find this video that was sent to me by a subscriber. Everybody needs to watch this to the end to see what actually happened. Let me see if I could find it. Here it is. This is the video that you have to watch. It's here's why you shouldn't drive a fake cop car. Yeah, it's very possible that they're completely controlled. A political ponerology is a concept developed by Polish psychologist Andrzej Lobaszewski, describing how evil can infiltrate and dominate political systems, especially through pathocratic rule. A system where psychologically disordered individuals, yes, especially those with antisocial traits, gain and maintain power. That is what we're in right now. Colossal harm through a ponerological lens, empathy lacking systems uphold elite power, while marginalizing Maori, showing pathocratic traits, suppression of dissent, whistleblowers, activists, or Maori voices, challenging government or corporate interests often face silencing or marginalization, a classic feature in ponerological systems. Thank you, con artists. Well, what's that expression? You know, the lunatics are running the asylum, and they are lunatics. Yes, political panorology is alive and very active globally. Yes, I think so, River Bluff. River Bluff says I've been researching quantum computers lately too, and someone somewhere is screwing around with our timeline and time space matrix. Yes, it feels that way too. I wonder if it has anything to do with CERN, in Switzerland. So I'm going to walk away just for a few minutes because my dinner is on the stove and I haven't eaten it. I was just hanging out there. So I'll be right back. Clones are imprinted with sigils. Yes, CERN is definitely concerned. Yes. That is one creepy looking machine. Corporations masking as governments, illegitimate made legitimate, or unlawful made legal. That's what the devil does. It reverses everything. It's all cor- corpse, corpserations. Yes, the CERN logo. Yes. Well, the Google logo is 666 also. And the Google Mail with that M, it's like the Freemason apron. Yes, Disney is 666. I used to love Disney until I became aware of all the hidden messages in their films and stuff. It got creeped me out. Yes, it's a meeting of the minds. And that's another reason why the creepos don't want us talking, because we share information and we learn and we grow and it's supportive. One Dream says it all hails to the world of the dead, serious. So I'm going to grab my book, Cerberus. I haven't heard that name in a long time. And one of my neighbors had a dog named Cerberus. So I'm going to continue reading a little bit from The Criminal Fraternity Servants of the Lie by Soul Esprit about how crime pays off big for the legal criminal fraternity. The LCF is not only a Luciferian semi-secret society and a cult religion, but as noted, it is also a commercial enterprise. Its institutional constructs, from jails, prisons, courthouses, to governors' mansions and privately owned corporations, for example, the IRS, the Federal Reserve banking system, exist solely for generating cash flow to, to perpetuate the devouring beast. In America, this web of legalized extortion and racketeering yields massive amounts of revenue from the coward, trembling masses, and at the same time provides a decentralized power base from which the LCF can operate. A diffuse power that cannot be successfully challenged or overthrown by the people. While the criminals in control rule with an iron fist, their impenetrable infrastructure remains intact. Like any band of armed robbers, legal criminals extort monetary assets from the people, irrespective of their own laws, and by whatever means the citizenry will allow. For example, police are revenue collecting agents for the government. Their job security depends upon their efficiency in locating new, quote unquote, cash customers to feed to their devouring beast. Writing traffic tickets, false arrests, lies, deceits, and defamation of character is what most of them do for a living. Their job has little to do with providing a public service. Their continued livelihood requires that they bring people into court so the system can collect more money. Since the LCF are without moral conscience and are indifferent to issues of truth, justice, and righteousness, it follows that they're equally unconcerned about how they receive a paycheck. Some of the more common strategies utilized by legal terrorists for earning a living include theft, extortion, blackmail, perjury, kidnapping, assault, drug racketeering, bribery, fraud, threats, and, whenever expedient, unaliving on a larger scale. Revenue is generated by inciting wars, insurrections, societal rape, pillage, and plunder. Whether they whack one of their own rogue legal criminals turn good or launch a global campaign of genocidal mass murder to fight terrorism. In the minds of a Luciferian, nothing is considered too vile or heinous. No crime, no amount of injustice is ever beneath their pretense of dignity. Hi, Siren. Welcome, welcome. I'm reading from the criminal fraternity book, Servants of the Lie, about how they make money. So let's see, where did I leave off here? Like their diabolical father, they will steal anything, destroy anyone who gets in their way. Whenever dealing with the beast, it's always best to keep these sobering realities in mind. In a social context, the Legal Criminal Fraternity can be defined as a terrorist organization. Oh yeah, I wonder if the fusion centers belong in that grouping. Its individual members, drunk with power, usurped from the voting public, are best described as homicidal serial killers. Among their vast array of institutions, offices, departments, dummy corporations, and organizations is that commonly known as organized crime. For example, the various ethnic mafias of the world, the Kostra Nostra, Tong, Yazuza, IRS, the IRS, Mossad, M16, etc., work together with their respective national governments in a common effort to control and profiteer from the masses. In reality, these more familiar elements of organized crime are merely lower tier subsidiaries of a larger criminal network that exists within the broad rubric of the global organized crime hierarchy. A simplified diagram of the satanic pyramid illustrates some of these key hierarchical relationships. And then what he draws up here is the satanic pyramid of global organized crime hierarchy. So at the top, hi Matson, welcome, welcome. Welcome, glad to see you here. I just started reading from the Criminal Fraternity book. Welcome, welcome. Just remember to hit the thumbs up, guys. So at the top of the satanic pyramid of global organized crime hierarchy is Lucifer, the all-seeing eye. Then comes, see, Lucifer's at the top. Then the three Rothschilds. They're considered non-human demigods. Then there's the Council of Nine, a bunch of unknown men. The Council of 13, a Deluminati witches, the super government. Then the Council of 33, the world's highest ranking Freemasons. Then there's the Black Nobility, the old surviving European monarchies. The Committee of 300, multi-generational witchcraft, Satanism, global illuminism. Then comes Freemasonry and the other quote-unquote brotherhood secret societies. Next, the super wealthy financiers, the Federal Reserve, the World Bank, IMF, the Rothschilds, and the Rockefellers. If you hear any like snap, crackle, pop in the background, it's because I've got a bug zapper. Then, like at the bottom, is the mafias, the drug cartels, the intelligence agencies, the media, religious organizations, the United Nations, and then At the bottom, you've got the base level of the Legal and Medical Criminal Fraternity. Let's see, River Bliss says, I know it sounds cliche, but it's the best any of us have. Don't feed the demon imps. At all 11 sublevels beneath Lucifer, within this pyramidal hierarchy, the lines of demarcation between so-called underground criminals and their more respective high-profile partners in crime, which are the politicians, judges, attorneys, and police, are often blurred and non-existent. Organized crime for profit is not the exclusive province of rogue criminal factions. Non-LCF, the legal crime fraternity, organized criminal elements of society are insubstantial in comparison to the overall scope of which the global criminal fraternity encompasses. The hierarchy of Satan's kingdom is organized from the top down to resemble the pyramid symbol of the occult. At the pinnacle, it sits Lucifer, Satan himself. Positioned directly beneath Satan are three men who are generational Satanists, reportedly from the family of the Rothschild. Next down the satanic pyramid is the Council of Nine. The individual identities comprising this council are not generally known, but can be surmised from cross-correlating the top-level participants on rosters of Luciferian secret and semi-secret societies. To a Luciferian, 9 is a number representing death, and these extremely wealthy and influential men are traditionally responsible for instigating wars, creating plagues, mass death and destruction all over the earth. David Rockefeller, select Rothschilds, and Prince Charles could possibly be counted among these 9. The next tier down from the top is the Council of 13 Illuminati witches, which is followed by the Council of 33 high-ranking Freemasons. Both 13 and 33 have occult significance for the world's satanic elite. Hi, Mrs. Matson. Welcome, welcome. Yes, you had that too, that ant dump? Oh my goodness, it's ridiculous. They did it in my bathroom sink. My bathroom sink, the kitchen sink, they put the ants underneath my coffee cup. So when I come into the house after feeding the cats, I pick up my coffee cup, and there's a bunch of ants crawling all over the place. Oh, and then today they decided, or I say this week, on one day, I think it was yesterday, every door handle had bugs on it, like beetles, like weird stuff. It's not possible. So these losers, these inhumane teams that run around my property like lunatics, they carry around vials of bugs. I mean, imagine doing that for a living. Well, what do you do for a living? Oh, I hang out on somebody else's property. I stalk them, and I carry around a bunch of bugs with me in my pocket. It's so much fun. Organized crime for profit is not the exclusive province of rogue criminal factions. Non-LCF organized criminal elements of society are insubstantial in comparison to the overall scope which the global criminal fraternity encompasses. The Council of 300 consists of an assortment of highly influential and exceptionally wicked men and women from fields of politics, media, international business. Wicked. Subordinate to them are the Brotherhood, secret and semi-secret society, Bilderbergers, Council on Foreign Relations, Priori of Scion, the Club of Rome, which can be thought of as higher degrees of Freemasonry that, when progressing to upper level degrees, are collectively known as the Illuminati. I can't bring it to call them Illuminati. There's nothing illuminated about these people. The Illuminati. Yeah, yes. The Committee of 300 Fabian Society. Being an asshole must be an easy job for these people. It just comes naturally. That's funny. The higher a Luciferian advances in the satanic pyramid, the more evil they have done, and the greater their power, wealth, and influence. Also, more information is disclosed to them concerning the quote unquote the plan. Satan's multi millennial dream of enslaving mankind and destroying God's creation. The so called plan is also euphemistically known as the New World Order. It has been revealed in great detail in such documents as the Protocols of the Learned Elders of Zion, Report from Iron Mountain, Agenda 21, the UN Biodiversity Assessment, and portrayed in Hollywood films such as the trilogy book series The Hunger Games, Catching Fire, and Mocking Jay. Jay. Mocking Jay. I've never heard of Catching Fire or Mocking Jay. It's not possible for anyone to rise within the pyramidal ranks unless they are Luciferian. Do you hear that? That's why civil government at all levels consists exclusively of God rejecting ministers of Satan, the servants of the lie. For this reason alone, one can be absolutely certain that anyone occupying a high level of government is consistent in his beliefs with the values and goals of the higher ranking Luciferians. Death and destruction is the principal means by which established governments generate revenue. There's no significant distinction to be made between the various crime syndicates of the world with their racketeering, extortion, money laundering, drug smuggling, unaliving for hire, terrorist plots, and the daily routine operation of the various departments comprising organized governments. Behind the iron veil, their modus operandi are similar, thus making national governments not only the world's largest organized crime syndicate, but also the world's largest, most profitable terrorist organization. Let's see. I believe they killed. Yes. Yeah, I'm not going to repeat that, but a one dream, yes. That's what they describe. A lot of whistleblowers have described that as being the case. In fact, Zahara Marley, Bob Marley's daughter, has been interviewed a lot lately. She was on Sean Atwood's YouTube channel. He interviewed her twice, and she said that's what she observed growing up. Let's see. Federal and state prisons and county jails are lucrative businesses for the legal mobsters, all of whom would rightly be incarcerated as inmates in those same punitive institutions. The county jail of any city in America is a revolving door money scam greased by the poor and disadvantaged who fell into one of the many snares set by the devouring beast. Entrapped for petty arrests, the inmates' victims are dehumanized in concrete cages that generate for the LCF a hefty return on their investment dollar. Many so called quote unquote dangerous criminals are simply average people caught up in the ever widening dragnet of New World Order laws and decrees that identify virtually everyone as a terrorist. With the inception of the anti terrorist legislation, the Patriot Act 1 and 2, Homeland Security Act, etc., the LCF terrorists instantly created tens of millions of new terrorists to be rounded up and jailed. Today's penal institutions exist to generate big bucks for their stockholders, which are invariably upper level members of the LCF. The Bush crime family, as major stockholders in the fast growing prison industry in America, have been instrumental in promoting the prison industry through terrorist legislation passed through Congress. To a Luciferian, politics and terrorism present no conflict of interest when profiteering from the crime which they help to create. Oh boy. That's page 142. Okay, Siren says, I got put on the list by a disgruntled female employee. Really? Wow. Oh my, Matson, that's serious. They're getting into your locked bedroom at night, and you have no memory of anything in the night. Well, I have to tell you that a targeted female that came to visit me when I first moved here, Margaret. After she left here, we were in contact with each other for a while, and then I lost contact with her, or she lost contact with me. I would call and call, and I couldn't imagine why she wasn't taking my calls. It turns out that one day she walks into her house, and one of these criminals are in her bedroom, and like ran past her, like down the hallway or whatever. She got so freaked out that somebody was in her house. They always leave one window open. That's what they did in New Jersey. They left one downstairs window open. They would come in during the day through my garage, come into the house. I'll leave a window open that I never opened. It was a window that I never opened. So I would never think to go look at that window, right? And that's exactly what they did. They unlocked the window that I never opened. And that's how they were getting in at night, right under my bedroom. Yeah, that's a good thing to do. It's so unfortunate because, in case of a fire or you need to escape quickly, targeted people were like so locked in. That's certainly possible. Yeah, get a dog. Yeah. And it doesn't even matter what size dog because dogs will bark at strangers. Riverbluff says if you stay in a hotel, there's basically no defense to keeping them out. Yeah. When I was house hunting in Kentucky and I stayed at a hotel, I got radiated in my bed. I could hardly walk the next morning. It was the morning that I was supposed to drive the rental car back to the airport and then board a flight. And I was having the hardest time even getting into the vehicle to drive because I was radiated in the hotel room. That's horrible. It's not horrible, Matson. Apparently, no defense in my home. Yes. Yes, those chihuahuas are, and they yap. They're very yappy. Very, very, very yappy. My grandma, my Italian grandma, had a chihuahua, Buffy. She called it Buffy. And Buffy would sit on my grandma's lap and no one could touch my grandma. That dog would go berserko. Nobody wanted to be around Buffy. Buffy was just this yappy, yappy little chihuahua. Yes, they're small, but they're very loud and noisy. River Bluff says, "I'll stick with with a German Shepherd." Actually, when I lived in New Jersey, I was toying with the idea of getting a Doberman, but then I read that they're like very like hyperactive, like they need like a lot of activity. You had a GSD. She always alerted me when the perps were around. Well, believe it or not, when I was in New Jersey, the cats would alert me. It was actually the cats that alerted me that somebody was at my front door with a key in the lock going click, 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 click. And they couldn't get in. I was like in the middle of like going into a sleep. And then the cats that were sleeping around me like jumped up and ran to the stairwell. And I see my lock turning click, 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 click. And that's the neighbor that was diagonally across the street. That's a good idea. That's a good idea to put a hasp in the middle of the door. Yeah, that's a good idea. Wow.